February 28, 2026, 6 a.m. At several air bases across Israel, fighter jets roar down the runway. Their engines ignite in the cold morning air. Their destination lies nearly 1,600 kilometers away, a heavily fortified compound in the heart of Tehran. 2 hours and 5 minutes after the jets depart, Israeli missiles strike the compound. Inside the building, roughly 30 of the most powerful men in Iran had gathered for a classified security summit. Among them was the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, along with the top commanders of Iran's military establishment. For 6 months, American and Israeli intelligence had been quietly preparing for this moment. Now, they had succeeded.
Supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is indeed dead.
What follows is the chain of events that led to this attack, how Iran's leadership was killed, and how the Middle East was thrown into one of its most dangerous crises in decades. To understand why this strike happened, we need to go back several decades. Before 1979, Iran was ruled by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, an authoritarian monarch who maintained extremely close relations with the United States and Israel. At the time, Iran was considered one of Washington's most important allies in the Middle East, but that alliance collapsed during the Iranian Revolution of 1979. Mass protests and political upheaval forced the Shah into exile. In his place, a religious leader named Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini returned from exile and established the Islamic Republic of Iran. The new regime dramatically changed Iran's foreign policy. The government openly declared both the United States and Israel as adversaries, embedding opposition to them into the ideological foundation of the state. When Khomeini died in 1989, leadership passed to a cleric named Ali Hosseini Khamenei. For more than 3 decades, Khamenei would oversee Iran's military strategy, regional influence, and its long controversial nuclear program. In the years that followed, tensions between Iran, Israel, and the United States steadily escalated. Economic sanctions were imposed on Tehran. At the same time, Iran began funding and supporting militant groups across the Middle East that opposed Israel. Then, in 2002, international inspectors revealed the existence of 2 previously undisclosed nuclear facilities in Iran, one near the city of Natanz, the other near Iraq. Iran claimed the program was intended for peaceful nuclear energy, but Western governments feared the enrichment of uranium could eventually produce the material required for nuclear weapons. This concern triggered years of covert operations, cyber warfare, and diplomatic negotiations. The USA and Israel attempt to stop these nuclear programs through cyber attacks, assassinations of key scientists, and the USA's key weapon, diplomacy. Finally, in 2015, diplomacy appeared to produce a breakthrough. The Obama administration and Iranian officials signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, widely known as the Iran nuclear deal. President Barack Obama described the agreement as a way to reduce the risk of nuclear proliferation through diplomacy. But the deal did not survive long. In 2018, President Donald Trump withdrew the United States from the agreement, arguing it failed to adequately restrict Iran's missile program and regional activities. Once again, tensions escalated. By 2025, Iran was facing mounting internal pressure. Economic sanctions had severely weakened the country's economy. The Iranian currency had lost much of its value. Food prices surged, and frustration began spilling into the streets. But the pressure on Iran was not only internal. In June 2025, Israel launched one of the most significant military operations ever carried out inside Iranian territory. Around 200 Israeli fighter jets struck more than 100 targets across Iran, including USA, attacking key nuclear sites such as Natanz and other facilities. Iran condemned the strikes as a violation of its sovereignty and quickly retaliated with missile and drone attacks against Israeli targets. The attacks deepened the confrontation between Iran, Israel, and the United States, pushing the region closer to a wider conflict. On February 26, 2026, diplomats from the United States and Iran met in Geneva for what many observers believed could be the final attempt to avoid a major conflict. But the talks failed. No agreement was reached. Behind the scenes, Intelligence agencies had already been preparing for another option. The real question was, how did they track the supreme leader? Satellite imagery tracked security convoys. Signals intelligence intercepted communications. Human sources provided insight into Iran's internal decision-making. Eventually, analysts discovered something unusual. A highly classified security summit scheduled to take place at the Pasture Street compound in central Tehran. The meeting would gather many of the country's most senior military commanders in one location. February 28, 9:40 a.m. Tehran. Israel deployed roughly 200 fighter aircraft for the operation. Within seconds, multiple explosions tore through the complex. The supreme leader of Iran, Ali Hosseini Khamenei, Sayed Abdul Rahim Musavi, Chief of Staff of Iran's Armed Forces, Ali Shamkhani, Head of the National Defense Council, Mohammad Pakpour, Commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and Iran's Defense Minister, Aziz Nasserzadeh, all eliminated. Roughly 30 minutes after the initial attack, U.S. warships launched Tomahawk cruise missiles. American artillery rocket systems struck additional command centers. Multiple Iranian military facilities were hit. Shortly afterward, President Trump released a video announcing the operation and encouraging the Iranian population to challenge their government.
Leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere.
An airstrike reportedly hit the Sar Tibi Elementary Girls' School in Manab, in Iran's Hormozgan province. Iranian state media claimed at least 175 people were killed, many of them children. The incident quickly intensified international criticism of the operation. Iran responded within hours. Under Operation True Promise 4, hundreds of missiles were launched toward Israel, but the retaliation quickly spread across the region. Iranian missiles and drones targeted U.S. bases and allied locations across the Middle East. A drone strike damaged Dubai International Airport, forcing the closure of UAE airspace. In Bahrain, attacks targeted the headquarters of the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet. In Qatar, officials reported 66 ballistic missiles fired toward the country. Jordan intercepted 49 incoming drones and missiles headed for U.S. bases. In Kuwait, drones struck terminals at Kuwait International Airport. Within hours, the conflict had spread far beyond Israel and Iran. The Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway through which nearly a fifth of the world's oil flows, was effectively blocked as warships and warnings kept commercial ships from passing. The shutdown sent oil prices spiking and sent shockwaves through global markets. The world watched, divided and alarmed. In Washington, President Trump called the strikes a preemptive necessity and demanded Iran's government surrender. Moscow and Beijing denounced the attacks, calling them illegal and urging respect for Iran's sovereignty. Europe struggled to respond. France feared global chaos, while Germany urged planning for the day after. The Gulf states were on edge. Saudi Arabia and the UAE condemned Iranian strikes on their soil, while Oman criticized the U.S. for acting while nuclear negotiations were still underway. Kuwait was still reeling from accidentally shooting down 3 U.S. warplanes. Even Lebanon was drawn in. Hezbollah joined the fight, launching rockets toward Israel, while the Lebanese government struggled to assert control. Thousands of civilians fled southern towns, caught between militias, rockets, and collapsing infrastructure. Other nations weighed their words carefully. India expressed concern for its citizens and the stability of oil supply chains. North Korea warned it was ready to support Iran, claiming that one missile is enough to erase Israel. On March 9th, Iran fired its first missiles toward Israel under the new leadership. Israeli and U.S. forces struck back, targeting remaining IRGC facilities. Gulf nations scrambled to protect ports and airports. Civilians flee towns and cities, caught between rockets, drones, and collapsing infrastructure. The war is far from over, and with Iran's new leader in place, the situation is likely to escalate. The world watches, waiting for what comes next.